Morning. If you try to say it's I'm gonna make you better not fuck this up, or I'll cut your goddamn throat. Morning. You think you're pretty smart now, don't you? Here's your pay, Einstein. Wipe that smirk off your face. Doing one job doesn't make us pals. I got work to... It's a deal. Disappoint me, and you'll find yourself on the wrong end of a rope. Happy hour. Great. Here you go. Don't spend it all in one place. Oh, look who's tired. Word of advice. Next time, bathe before coming to a job interview. It fucking figures you're my last customer. This day can't get any worse. Well, look who decided to show their face again. I'd tell you to go fuck yourself, but you did that when you didn't buy anything. Good morning. Make up your mind or make your way out. Cha-ching! Thanks, buddy. My shop, my rules. You follow, or you fuck off. A sale is a sale, even if it is to a scumbag like you. I got work to do. What are you standing there for? Don't you have work to do?
movie version of a mobile game. Then finally, Kingdom Hearts 3 and its Remind DLC all on its own. Then yeah, also there's technically Melody of Memory, but thank God that isn't on Steam because it's just a rhythm game and there's some important story stuff at the end, but you can just look that up. Amongst the available games, there are a total of 317 achievements for us to hunt with a total time allowance of 470 hours.
Damn.
197 of those achievements come from 1.5 and 2.5 remix. First up on the docket is Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, with a total of 55 available achievements, 56 on PlayStation if you're including the Platinum. The par time for this game on its own says it's 40 to 50 hours, so we'll stick with the lower estimation given my prior game knowledge. So without further ado, let us begin our journey into one of my favorite game series of all time, Kingdom Hearts. Close your eyes and go back to 2002 with me. Xbox Live had just come out. Eminem and Nickelback dominated the music charts. Look at this graph! Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings ruled the box office, and all the cool kids walked around with their second-generation iPods. Yes, I said iPod, not pad, not phone. Pod.
It's been 84 years.
Many of you probably closed your eyes and just pictured darkness because you weren't alive yet. And then there was me, a 6-year-old boy who had just gotten a PS2 for Christmas, a massive upgrade from the Super Nintendo. I was already aware of what Final Fantasy was, and I was obsessed with Disney, so needless to say, when I somehow found out about Kingdom Hearts, being a crossover between the two, I had to have it. I ended up being able to show the game to my parents at Epcot since they had a booth for Kingdom Hearts and Interventions. Rip Interventions. My parents were convinced, so I went to rent it on our next trip to Hollywood Video. Many of you probably don't even know what that is. Then I decided to continue playing it for the next 20 plus years, which brings us to today. For all achievements in this game, we'll be doing 2 different playthroughs. A 100% playthrough on beginner, and finishing the game as fast as possible on proud mode. To hit 100% in this game, we'll be completing Jiminy's Journal, which will require us to find every Trinity, find 99 missing Dalmatian puppies, find all Ansem reports, encounter every Heartless and character at least once, play every minigame at least once, obtain every Keyblade, obtain every staff, obtain every shield, and finally synthesize one of every item in the game, along with a handful of other miscellaneous achievements that we'll get along the way. The reason we chose beginner for our first playthrough is because there are 3 main achievements that are massively easier to do on beginner. Unchanging armor, where we can't change equipment for the entire game. This includes Keyblades and Donald and Goofy's equipment. Undefeated, where we can't press continue on the death screen, but we could load game, so saving's important. And Speedster, for finishing the game in under 15 hours. Now, while it's definitely possible to achieve all of these on proud mode, it is not what I would say is easy for the average gamer, which is our goal here on this channel, absolute mediocrity. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll start the 40-hour timer in 3, 2, 1, now. We begin our first playthrough with the most important speedrunning trick of all time. It's called DMCA skip, and we hit it first try. Man, nothing hits better than not getting sued in the first 10 seconds of a game. We start the game taking the staff, which gives us +1 MP and sacrificing the shield because who needs it, I guess, and make our way through the tutorial. When we reach the section where we answer insanely deep questions for a child, we make sure to choose the third option for each character to put us on the Knight EXP route, which essentially makes it easier to level from 50 to 100. This is actually the way to need the least amount of XP to reach level 100, which we need for an achievement later. After we spam our beginner mode gift items and smack the shit out of Darkside, we wake up on Destiny Islands with Riku and Kairi. We run around Destiny Islands collecting things to make a raft and end day 1. On day 2, we have a race with Riku and lose for maybe the first time in my life because I was nervous while I was recording, which actually sucks because then we don't get a pretty stone as a reward to sell later. We then give the remaining items to Kairi and that ends day 2. Overnight, the island gets attacked by a big floating ball of darkness and we go run up to Riku standing over on Love Island and we are then given the Keyblade. And it is with this Keyblade that we will be spending the rest of the game thanks to the Unchanging Armor trophy, making one of the best elements of this RPG completely unusable. Hooray achievements. We fight Darkseid again IRL this time, and then the big ball of darkness swallows us and brings us to Traverse Town. We meet Sid and go fight some Heartless before fighting Leon, Squall for the real ones out there, and then meeting Yuffie. I opened 2 chests here despite actively trying to avoid collectibles until later. There will be a few other times that this happens which I will point out. We were aiming for 100 chests total for an achievement, but there are many, many more than that in the game. Leon tells us to ignore the small fry as he runs away to probably find the leader and help us defeat it, surely. We head into the 3rd district to fight said leader, alongside Dolan and Gooby, the lovable Disney characters. After defeating him, we confront Leon on his cowardice, gain some stuff, learn about Trinities, another type of collectible, and exit the world. Once we're on the world map, we head into the Gummy customization menu and delete our ship to make it just a cockpit, engine, and a weapon, because speedrunners do that, so surely it's for a purpose, right? With that, we pop our first achievement, Customizer. Only 54 to go. You may notice that my Steam achievements look like PlayStation trophies. That is thanks to Steam Achievement Notifier, where you can customize your Steam notifications to look however you want. I want them to feel as close to PlayStation as possible because that's the sound that gives me the most dopamine. Leave me alone, I don't have a problem. We then gummy ship our way over to the first world, making sure we pick up any gummy ship blueprints we can along the way, and destroying as many ships as possible to make progress toward these 2 achievements. We land in Wonderland, where we chase some rabbit booty and shove a bed before talking to a door and taking a shot of that sweet, sweet Tennessee whiskey to be shrunk down, where we then go and be told to find evidence of Alice's innocence for I don't know what, and so we do. The game wants you to find a bunch of these small boxes, but you can just find one and then go back and be like, this is it, oh well. Goffy gets arrested, and we do some peaceful protesting against the Queen to find out Alice is now missing. We then head over to light some candles, which spawns Trickmaster, our boss for this world. After he's down, we obtain a Navi G piece, which we don't know what to do with, so we just choose to ignore it as a unit. Go team. Upon leaving Wonderland, we pop our second achievement, and at this rate we'll be done in no time. We take off again, heading to the next world, which is Deep Jungle. We get jumped by Sabor, but quickly show her what dreams are made of and meet Tarzan the Ape-Man. Tarzan leads Sora to a skippable minigame that not many know is skippable, and then the duo collects slides to impress Tarzan's girlfriend. Sora meets back up with the duck and the dog, and I accidentally grab another treasure chest, whoops, and then the trio takes off to find Tarzan's dad, and then heads to the treehouse to find that Clayton was gonna hunt gorillas. We head back to the camp to yell at him and then run around the world and save the good monkeys from the heartless monkeys. We go back in and out of the tent and then go fight Sabor a second time, which is much harder this time, but it's still fine. Then we go back to the tent again and find that Jane has been Jane-napped, and then I try to do a cheeky save warp and I'm met with this weird vine door I've never seen before, so I stay humble and go back the regular way. We find Jane and ignore all the enemies to beat shit out of this big fruit and then head down to fight Clayton. Clayton literally tries to shoot a child several times and fails, so he summons this giant invisible lizard that I don't remember from the film, and we knock him off of it and then finish him off. We then make our way up the waterfall castle on the first try for sure, shut up, and then seal the keyhole for this world. Tarzan then gives us a new keyblade to use that you won't see until much later in this video, and then we head off to the next world, popping our third achievement in the process. Our next world is Olympus Coliseum, except it's not actually, because we immediately ignore it, because believe it or not, you don't actually have to do this world for the story, so we'll come back to it later. Going from Olympus to Traverse Town, we pop another trophy for accidentally completing the first gummy mission for this route. That was 100% an accident. I didn't know I was going to do that. We dock back in Traverse Town and head to Leon, who's hanging out in the sewers for some reason, and on the way we are forced to activate a red trinity for story purposes. This is one of the several trinities that are required to progress in the game. I'll make sure to call it out. We talk to Leon and Aerith, who gives us our first summon stone of the game, which we'll use in a bit, and then we head back to Sid, who will install the gummy blocks for us after we deliver a book for him. We head over to the big fire door and expertly solve the puzzle to open it, and head into the old house where we meet Merlin and watch him dance. Then we give him the book, and the fairy godmother turns the summon gem we got into Simba. We head back to Sid, who has finished installing the navigation gummy, and the gang tells us about a bell we should ring 3 times, but we don't care, so we go visit Sid once more before leaving and sell a bunch of stuff, which we could have sold the Pretty Stone if we had won the race at the beginning of the game, to buy a Haste G, to make the gummy missions even faster. We head out and make our way through the portal over to Alice. We land here to find Jasmine, who gets attacked by Heartless, so we save her, and then break into some guy's house and free his living rug and fall into the desert. We save Aladdin by having Simba yell at the enemies, and then head back to the house we broke into, which happens to be Aladdin's, but don't tell him. We find Jafar, and he shoves Jasmine into a pot, which then becomes alive, and then we smack it a bunch until she's set free, but oh no, our princess is in another castle, so we head back off to the desert. The Cave of Wonder comes alive because everything has to be a boss fight, and good god, this fight is infuriating. He just moves around so much, and you have to hit him in his eyes, and it's just the worst. With him being back to being a stagnant cave, we head inside and go underground to break this pillar before heading on through the treasure room. Jafar refuses to stay too close, I'm so sorry, making this yet another irritating boss fight, and after he's down, he becomes a mega gym bro, and we destroy his creatine and escape the cave on the magic carpet. Aladdin tries to come with us to find Jasmine, who's still missing but can't, so we instead gain Genie as a summon, and Aladdin gives us another keyblade we can't use, and that marks the end of Agrabah. Q achievement number 5. We're just over an hour in, and I'm feeling really great about this playthrough so far. Let's say that this is the end of the mid-game now. Our next world, we get swallowed up by a big whale named Monstro. We meet Geppetto and head to save Pinocchio by traveling through Monstro's organs. We run into Rico and he helps us fight Parasite Cage to save Pinocchio, but he just escapes. We head back down to the Geppetto world and snag another important chest with a high jump ability and head up into the throat and we run into another rare harness called the Rare Truffle. The goal with these guys is to bounce them without letting them hit the ground. Into the mouth we go, we fight Parasite Cage again, before getting shot back out of the world, topping our 6th achievement. Onwards we go to the next world, which is Halloween Town, but a quick tip is that this route from Agrabah to Halloween Town is a great route to farm gummy ship kills on. Landing in Halloween Town, we read some sweet new things and head over to Professor Finkelstein's lab, where we find out he's trying to make a heartless dance for Halloween. We appease the idea against Dolan's wishes and set off to find ingredients to help bring this idea to life. We start by finding Sally, who gives us a forget-me-not, which I'm assuming is intended to be memory, but it's been ages since I've watched these cutscenes. After bringing that back to the Mad Doctor, we go find the mayor who helps us blow up a pumpkin by playing a memory game, and that leads us to yet another required chest for story purposes, resources, so that sets us at 5 chests so far out of 100. And then our experiment is stolen by Lock, Shock, and Barrel Roll, so we chase after them. Now you can just open this door and cast a spell to go up the manor, but real ones know to jump here and... As I was saying, you just jump over here and... So we just open the door and cast a spell, which is the definitive way to go up Oogie's manor, and then we interrogate the children who tell us where to find Mr. Boogie. This is a gimmick boss with annoying immune phases, but he goes down after way too many phases. Oogie wasn't done with just one gimmick, so now he becomes the manor itself with big purple blobs all over it that we have to destroy to finish this dude off.
Hey, yo, what the?
It's a good thing platforming hasn't been a single issue for me, because this entire fight is exactly that. Honestly, I don't feel like I did too bad here. I'm pretty happy with it. Once he's down, Jack gives us yet another Keyblade, and we make our exit as Halloween Town is saved and another achievement is ours. We then head towards the next world, where we get intercepted by a big ship, which you guessed it happens to be our next world, Neverland. Neverland is actually a really quick world when you know where you're going, so we make our way over to yet another necessary trinity and fight Anti-Sora. This is the first fight where I could really feel all the fights I had skipped so far. It felt like I was doing like no damage at all. After fighting Anti-Sora, we do a quick lap around the ship to go outside, where we were ambushed by more Heartless. I try to have Simba yell at them again, but they're less bothered by it, so we finish them up before fighting Captain Hook. It's also important to note that I have the ability to fully fly now, but only while I'm in this world. After vandalizing Big Ben, we lock the keyhole here, grab the glide ability, and then return quickly to grab an orichalcum from the clock tower. The way that this works is based on in-game time, which is shown at the bottom left of the pause screen. Since we are still just under the 2-hour mark, an orichalcum spawns here, and there will be a different item every hour up to 12 hours. These items help to reduce grind, but they are by no means required, so if you didn't get here as fast, don't stress. Popping our achievement for beating Neverland and heading back to Traverse Town, we can now go see what they meant about the bell from earlier since we're overpowered, and we use another required trinity to spawn the keyhole for this world. We get jumped by Guard Armor again, who turns into opposite armor, but we make quick work of him and move on. Sid now installs a gummy for us to take to Hollow Bastion, which is where the fun begins. Hollow Bastion is one of my favorite worlds in the series, as it's truly original and the music just slaps. Upon arrival, we run into Riku, who steals our Keyblade and our friends, and leaves us with a wooden sword, then goes and hides behind a locked door, like, bro, you just stole my weapon, don't be a bitch. Beast joins us, and we head over to solve a quick puzzle to unlock the gate and head back to say what's up to the homies. Nolan and Gooby decide that they don't want to let Riku murder us. The Keyblade says that's dope and comes back to us. Riku gets possessed by the big baddie of the game, Ansem, and Ansem makes him wear a skirt now and makes him really irritating to fight. After the fight, Riku takes off and we're left to read books in a library where yet another required trinity is. Up on the balcony above, we do a series of tasks to gather 4 emblems for the exit door and proceed climbing up Hollow Bastion. After reaching the top, we beat up on Maleficent and she gets pissed and turns into a dragon, which is literally so cool. We summon Tinkerbell to heal us throughout this fight and just brute force this boss that I struggled with so much as a kid. After she's done, we head over to finish the world and... Actually, no. We won't finish the world because once we do, all the other worlds' battle levels increase a ton. So instead, we're gonna go finish the worlds that we had skipped before while we're drastically overpowered for them. Remember that we have 15 hours to reach the end, and we're only about 2.5 hours deep right now. Although we won't use all the 15 hours because I would like to equip other Keyblades. Our first stop is another world we skipped earlier called Atlantica, which can be one of the most frustrating worlds if you don't know where to go. We first learn to swim and then head over to meet King Triton. He gets mad because we're outsiders, so Ariel takes us to her secret grotto. And then we head off to a sunken ship to find more human stuff for her and find this crystal trident and a shark. We spray the shark with shark repellent and head back to put the crystal trident into the perfectly shaped slot in Ariel's grotto. Triton destroys it, so Ariel goes off to be consoled by the sea witch Ursula, and we go after her. We spam her cauldron with magic, then watch her get the zoomies before doing it again, and then she runs away. We chase after her with an ability they really should have given you by default, and then find her, and she's grown into mommy, so we smack her head a bunch until she's down. Triton then decides we're not so bad, so he comes and tells us to seal the keyhole, and Sora's like, bro, that's literally why we're here to begin with. Ariel gives us another Keyblade for our Keyblade museum you'll never see, and we head out with another achievement. We then head back to Olympus Coliseum, which we skipped earlier. We break some barrels and get an entry pass from Hades so that Danny DeVito will let us into the games. We spam Thunder through those before fighting Cloud, who for some reason has wrapped his sword up with bandages. After beating Cloud, the arena gets attacked by Cerberus, so we old Yeller his ass and exit the world, only to go right back in. This world is our Horde mode of the game. There are 3 tournaments we can make our way through right now before finishing that first visit to Hollow Bastion, so that's exactly what we do. The Phil Cup, the Pegasus Cup along with its solo run and time trial run for important synth items, and then the Hercules Cup. This earns us 5 total achievements for completing them. After leaving here, I realize I still have time to burn before hitting 4 hours for an item I want from the clock tower, so I head over to Deep Jungle to do the Jungle Slider minigame. Now with this minigame, we only need the first 3 rewards technically, but getting all of them gives us another power-up which will make the final boss significantly easier. After finishing that, I researched online to see at what point the clock tower becomes unavailable to get those items we talked about earlier. A secret boss is there, and until we beat him we can't get those items. The internet said sealing the keyhole to Hollow Bastion is what makes this a thing, so I decided to go finish that first visit because you don't seal the keyhole on the first visit. Back in Hollow Bastion, we approach Riku a second time. The cutscenes would tell you that Kairi is a princess of heart, and that's why they've been kidnapping all the princesses, and that he is going to stab her to unlock her heart, but that part of her heart is also inside Sora. It's been a long time since I paid attention to the stories of this game, so I'm probably wrong, and if I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments. Your hatred fuels my metrics. Sora whacks Riku only to stab himself, turning himself into a Heartless. We chase down our crew in Heartless form and get saved by Kairi, so I guess we're square now. The gang escapes back to Traverse Town, and Sora tells Sid he needs to go back to Hollow Bastion to seal the keyhole. The gummy we need to do so is back in the sewer, so we head there and snag it, and then Kairi gives us another Keyblade we can't use, but it pops an achievement, thanks girl, and then we head out to go back to Hollow Bastion. Now at this point, I still had some time before hitting that 4-hour mark, and even then I have until the 5-hour mark to finish getting back to the clock tower, so I decide I'm going to hit all the Trinities and many of the chests on our way back up the castle at Hollow Bastion. Did you know you can freeze the bubbles? After making it back to the castle chapel, I head back out from that save point and go back to the... Wait, what the f***? The internet lied to me. This is actually my fault, because I knew about the changes that happened after beating Riku 2 and still believed what I read.
Oh, don't cry, are you?
So we press on and seal the keyhole in Hollow Bastion, popping another achievement. This unlocks the final world, which is called End of the World. We pop another achievement upon landing for clearing all gummy routes. I decided that the level of difficulty I was feeling at this point from having no equipment felt good, so I decided to get all the chests I could find here. The only important one early on is this one, which has a staff for Donald. Then I went into the world terminus and decided to stop at every world and fight stuff because honestly I was just having a lot of fun at this point. I didn't know if I'd ever done this before. Typically, you can skip all the worlds where you've sealed the keyhole, so Olympus was the only one we had to do here. And also Neverland because of the chest with the shield for Goofy. We stop in this world you haven't seen yet to save, and then go on to fight Chernobog. This is one of my favorite fights in the series just because I love the music. It's so good. Chernobog is so baller, I love it. After he's down, we finally get Super Glide, our last movement ability in the game. We make our way into a big room and get stomped by another behemoth. After he's done, this door starts peeling apart and then buckle up because this fight lasts forever. After fighting wave after wave after wave after wave of Heartless, the door to Final Rest is finally unveiled, so we head inside. This is officially our point of no return, and we got here in just over 5 hours. This game has roughly 4 hours of cutscenes in it, so even if you had watched all of them, you would have had a huge cushion. I also want to point out that at this point, if you struggle with these final fights, that's okay. Head back out and grind a bit. No judgment. Just bear in mind your in-game timer. You want to give yourself probably close to an hour to finish up the final boss fights. We head inside the point of no return and get into our first fight with Ansem. I love these final fights because it's so clear that Square told Disney that they have no jurisdiction here. This is just pure Final Fantasy anime nonsense and I love it. After fighting through Ansem 1, Dark Side again for some reason, Ansem 2, and Ansem 3,
Daddy, chill.
and this weird squiggly thing that shoots crap at us, we begin to find our friends again. Goofy joins back first and we take on the head of Ansem's ship, and I really wish we could get Goofy's reaction to this somehow. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at this thing. We go and snag Donald, then kill this blob thing, which must be important, and then fight Ansem one more time as a group. With him down, we pop our Speedster trophy so it doesn't hold the unskippable ending against you, and then watch through the ending and credits. After the credits, we pop our Novice Player, Unchanging Armor, and Undefeated trophies. Then, since there is no clear data save in this game, we just load our game back before the final boss. Our next goal is to head through each world and get all collectibles and such to work on checking things off in Jiminy's journal. Keeping in mind we don't need every chest, but I don't know what's in all of them, so I open as many as I can find. In addition to that, we'll be farming out synth items from Special Heartless, of which there is one of each in each world. Other than Atlantica. Thank God. We start in End of the World, where we already are, with the Neo Shadow enemies, which we just spam Strike Raid or Ars Arcanum. They drop Stormy Stones, of which we need 4. Heading over to Neverland, intentionally skipped Hollow Bastion until we get a certain Keyblade later, we fight this big stupid balloon guy that steals all my money, who drops Dazzling Stones, of which we need 6. We also wrap up Trinities and chests here before heading out. In Atlantica, we need to go into the sunken ship and get the white mushrooms to spawn, as this is the only area that I know of in the game where you can get stop arts. We need one of each of the arts items, which is done by playing charades with these guys with each of the different spells in the game. We need to cast the same spell on the same mushroom 3 times to get an arts item. Here we snag stop arts and thunder arts and get a couple other items here and head out toward Ariel's grotto. In the grotto there are a few chests, but the only important one is the one with a torn page. Remember that book we brought Merlin earlier? We need 5 torn pages to complete that world, so we will snag 4 of them before heading back to Traverse Town where we will get the last one. Heading towards Triton's Palace, we stop at the White Trinity here and leave this world and head over to Monstro. Monstro is home to another summon gem for Dumbo, yes Dumbo,
Even Dumbo!
several trinities, and a special heartless called Grand Ghost. The gimmick with this guy is that he takes damage from healing items, so we just throw a Mega Elixir on him and it one-shots him and drops the Frost Stones we need 7 of. We explore the rest of Monstro, grabbing more puppies and trinities before heading over to Agrabah. P.S. I missed a chest with Dalmatians in it in Chamber 6. I have no idea how. I'll notice later and come back for it, but you can be better. Agrabah is home to the Pot Scorpion special Heartless, which has annoying immune phases, but essentially just guard him when he lunges at you and then attack. You can also smack the pots in the room that move for a chance at an extra mithril stone, of which we need 8, which sucks. The rest of Agrabah is pretty basic, just flying around collecting chests and trinities, and here's where we also pop the achievement for 100 chests. We also stop in the treasure room for a white mushroom that can give us the gravity arts item. There's also another torn page in a chest underground in the Cave of Wonders. Back to Halloween Town, our first stop is the lab from earlier because in this bookcase is our 4th torn page. Afterwards, we head back over to Oogie's Manor, but on our way we pop the achievement for having 10,000 money. The manor is gone now, so we jump down and defeat some white knights to spawn this area's special Heartless, the Chimera. When we lower his initial health bar, he spawns in these orbs that were intended to bounce back at him, which is really difficult for me for some reason, so most of the time I put on arrows and it seems to work just fine. This guy drops blazing stones that we need 7 of. The worst part of this grind is the fact that you have to go 2 rooms away to respawn him, which is a pain here in particular. I should also mention this glaring red trinity that I don't grab while I'm here. I thought this trinity was bugged, but turns out you just have to hit it after you defeat the Chimera. I'll come back for it later. After wrapping up the blazing stones, I head back over to the graveyard looking for white mushrooms again. These ones specifically are good for arrows. We snag that and head out. Starting in Wonderland, we snag a couple trinities before farming the Giga Shadow special Heartless by spamming Strike Raid. These drop Fury Stones, of which we need 5. After cleaning up the rest of the world, we head back over to Deep Jungle to farm this stupid bell enemy that I'm usually terrible at, but I think I did alright this time. We need 5 lightning stones from him. A trick you can do that I didn't bother with this time is to record him with your phone while he jumps around, then pause and rewatch on your phone scrubbing through stories. That's not me in the past, but he still sucks. Now I head up to the treehouse collecting trinities and chests along the way and try to spawn a special Heartless called the Pink Agaricus, probably butchered that. I couldn't find the 3rd white mushroom here though to save my life, so I just give up and decide to come back later when we have a summon that will help with it. Next, I head over to Olympus Coliseum and hit all the trinities in the courtyard, as well as cast Blizzard at all these torches to spawn a chest. Now, to break up the collectible grind a bit, we're going to go through the Hades Cup. This is a 50-round cup with a boss fight every 10 seeds, aside from a couple more random ones like Yuffie at 44. I'm doing this now because I have to do it 3 times total, and I just want to do it back to back. During our run-through of this, we snag the achievement for killing 2,000 Heartless. After we're done with Hades Cup, I leave the world and decide to finish up collectible farming with Traverse Town. Before I do that, I realize now that I forgot that chest back in Monstro with Dalmatian, so I head back to get that. Back in Traverse Town, we clear out the trinities and chests and find all 10 postcards, which I thought was an achievement, but it's not. Woohoo! We also fight the special Heartless here by spamming blizzards at it. If it sees you, it will relentlessly attack you until you leave the room. These drop power stones, of which we need 5. I visit Merlin, and since I have all the spell arts items, he gives me a keyblade. I also give my summon stones to the fairy godmother and get the Dumbo and Mushu summons. After getting all the chests for Dalmatians, we pop the top dog achievement and go to deliver them, but on the way something super important happens. We get a wizard's relic drop from the wizard enemy. This is a super rare staff for Donald that counts toward the all staffs achievement, so super glad to get that RNG out of the way. I should also note that I stopped by Geppetto's new house, who gives us gummy blueprints depending on how many Heartless we've beaten. Since I know I have over 2,000, he gives me 3 for now, but we'll be back later. I also snag a keyblade out of a chest here. Then, after getting all the trinities done here, I realize that the achievement didn't pop, so I missed some somewhere. I know the yellow one I'm missing is in Olympus, so I start backtracking to find the red one I'm missing, and lo and behold, it's that one that I thought was bugged in Halloween Town. I had just checked Agrabah and decided to normal drive over to Halloween Town to farm enemy kills and pop the achievement for shooting down 2,500 enemy ships. Big W. After cleaning up that trinity in Halloween Town, I head back to Olympus to do the yellow trinity there, which pops the achievement for all trinities, and leaving the world pops the achievement for sealing the keyhole there. Since I just got that other gummy achievement, I decide to go for mission 2 and 3 for Traverse Town, unlocking another blueprint and 2 more achievements. Back to Traverse Town, we finally head into 100 Acre Wood, our last world that I was putting off forever, and we clear all the 5 torn pages to seal the keyhole for the world and get the Bambi summon as well, which is super important for wrapping up synth farming. During 100 Acre Wood, we popped the Minigame Maniac achievement for participating in all the minigames this game has to offer. We also popped the achievement for clearing 100 Acre Wood and the Storyteller achievement since we've cleared all worlds now. Now at this point I knew of one more Heartless that gives me a specific item I need, but it's easier to obtain when you have the Keyblade for defeating the Ice Titan, so we head back to Olympus to fight him. The gimmick with this fight is to deflect the icy shards back at him with guard. It's pretty easy and takes a while, but he goes down and we pop an achievement for beating him. We then head back over to Deep Jungle to get the item I was trying to get earlier, where you cast stop on these 3 mushrooms and then a big pink one spawns and you cast stop on him, and then for every hit you get on him while he's stopped, you get a point. It sounds complex, but just cast Eroga on yourself and then cast stop, then Ragnarok him, air combo, Ragnarok, air combo until you run out of time. He'll drop the item Serenity Power, which is the last special item that we need 7 of. We still have a bunch of synth farming to do, but now that we have Bambi, we can make it a lot easier. Before we do that farming, I get impatient and decide to try to go synth 15 items with the Encounter Plus ability so that enemies respawn by just exiting and entering a room rather than having to go 2 rooms away. I'm only able to synth 14 items because the universe hates me, but I popped 2 achievements in the process. Now we're going to head back to farm specific synth items using Bambi. Essentially, Bambi works as so. You summon her, then fill the meter by killing things, and she shits out items that you would otherwise have to defeat specific enemies for. This allows you to farm for multiple different items at once. Starting in Neverland, for example, if I go down to the basement, I can summon Bambi, and then while I'm killing Heartless that drop Lucid Shards, Lucid Crystals, and Power Gems, Bambi is shitting out Spirit Shards and Spirit Gems. It's beautiful. Also, while we're here, we're going to go ahead and fight the Phantom at the Clock Tower so we can grab our last spell upgrade. This boss is such a slog. The gimmick here is that you can only attack him with one of 3 spells, Fire, Blizzard, and Thunder, or with a physical attack if he glows white. Add in the fact that he casts Doom on you and you have to cast Stop on the Clock Tower or you die, and honestly this fight is just the worst. After a million years he goes down and we finally get our Stopera upgraded to Stopka and we pop an achievement. While we have the momentum, I want to go ahead and head over to Agrabah to fight another super boss, Kurt Ziza. The deal with this guy is that he has 2 phases. One where he can only be damaged by physical attacks and you can't use magic, and one where he can only be damaged by magic and not physical. Once you knock him out of each phase, you can damage his actual health bar. After he goes down, we pop an achievement, and then we go farm synth items in a few different worlds. At this point, I have no idea what I really need because I synth that random stuff earlier, so now all my counts are off. I go ahead and synth some more stuff and pop the achievement for making 15 items, then continue to farm for a while. While farming, I get the rare Defender Shield drop, and then I pop the achievement for synthing 30 items before realizing that I need to synth 1 more Dark Matter than I had thought. Seeing my in-game timer is close to the 16-hour mark, I remember why I wanted to go to the Clock Tower at 4 hours much earlier in the run. So, I had to burn some time by doing Sora's solo Hades Cup, popping the achievement for getting all of Donald's stabs, and then make my way over to the Clock Tower to obtain the Dark Mat. Once again, my memory has failed me in my old age. So instead, I go to farm what I need to synth 2 more Mithrils and then the Dark Matters. This allows me to synth the Ultima Weapon, popping the achievement for synthing every available item in the game. This leaves us with just the Hades Cup time trial, which we just spam Thunder through with our beautiful final Keyblade. The Platinum match against one of Final Fantasy's most infamous antagonists, Sephiroth, voiced by the gruesome, fearsome Lance Bass. Then we head back and finish farming to level 100 before heading over to Hollow Bastion for the final secret boss. The unknown figure is usually a very tough boss fight, but we have way over-prepped, but I'll also give you some pro tips. Number 1, use gravity on him, as it stuns him and is the only magic that works on him. Number 2, use summons like Bambi and Simba, as he is unable to cast his Doom spell, which can easily destroy you. And number 3, if that doesn't work, just spam attack and heal when needed, and honestly you'll probably be fine. Defeating him gives us some cool foreshadowing for future titles and also pops a slew of achievements. It's after this that I realized that I forgot to talk to Geppetto again after hitting level 100, as we have now killed enough Heartless to get the rest of the available blueprints from him. He gives us 3 more, which happens to be exactly enough for us to pop the final achievement of this playthrough for getting 30 gummy blueprints. We now have 53 out of our 55 achievements needed for Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, and we have over 25 hours left on our timer. Bear in mind that this series has a cumulative timer as well that could become problematic later. This is by far my most familiar game in the series, and I still have made loads of mistakes, so it's likely all downhill from here. This is the first time in a long time that I've played Proud Mode casually, as usually I'm trying to do all the previous achievements in this playthrough, so I'm honestly super excited for this. I have plenty of time left on my timer, so I really can take my time and enjoy this playthrough. The only big changes I make in this playthrough is that I choose the shield and dump the staff, as well as answer the questions with the first answer, which makes leveling 1 to 50 faster, since we won't be needing more than that. I have to point out that I get my revenge on Riku in the race as well. Being able to change equipment really makes Proud Mode way more enjoyable, and I haven't done a run being able to do that in such a long time. I cruise through the game as casually as I've ever played it, and I remain deathless until... As I was saying, it really isn't that bad, but you do die pretty... No, but seriously, once you get certain abilities and items, it becomes pretty much a breeze. Once I reach End of the World, I'm able to abuse Mushu a bit using the EXP0 ability. Despite gaining no XP with this ability on, it actually improves your stats a bit in the background as well, as it's intended for level 1 runs of the game. It also has a hidden perk called damage storage, where if you hit a finisher in a combo, then spam magic, every hit from that magic will do the damage of a finisher rather than a regular attack. This is amazing for the Mushu summon in particular, as you just spam his fire breath and it will melt bosses. Even if it doesn't fully finish bosses, it will get you most of the way there. This is especially helpful in Ansem 1 and Ansem 4. After we defeat Ansem once again and he says the thing, we watch the credits and pop the final 2 achievements for this playthrough. We had 20 hours and 22 minutes remaining, but I'm going to deduct time for 2 playthroughs if we would have watched the cutscenes. There are about 4.5 hours of cutscenes, so I'll reduce the timer by 9 hours. That brings our total time remaining for this game to 11 hours and 22 minutes. So this game took us 28 hours and 38 minutes to complete. That brings our total time remaining for the series to 441 hours and 22 minutes. We earned 55 achievements in this game, which leaves us with 262 across the remaining 6 titles. Overall, this was a blast to play. I love being able to play the game in 2 playthroughs for the plat rather than brute forcing 1 playthrough. As I've mentioned before, this is the game in the series I'm most familiar with, so from this point on, the time will get a bit tighter. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Also leave a comment and tell me what you did or did not like about the format of this video, seeing as it's my first one back. Even your complaints will feed the algorithm. The next game in the series is Kingdom Hearts RE: Chain of Memories. The gameplay in Kingdom Hearts is amazing, so it's great that they'll never change the core mechanics of the game to something horrible. The wheel-picked Elder Scrolls is the series we'll play alongside Kingdom Hearts, so we'll start that next week. Bye-bye. We have 6 remaining titles in the Kingdom Hearts series, with a total time allowance of 441 hours, 22 minutes, and 262 achievements/trophies still left to earn. Yes, this means I'm not planning on doing Melody of Memory, at least for now, as it's a copyright nightmare. If you missed the first game in the series, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, go watch. I'll wait. Good, you're here to stay. Today, we'll be conquering Kingdom Hearts RE: Chain of Memories. Our part time for this game is a whopping 70 hours, and we have 47 trophies to hunt, not including the Platinum, which we technically don't have, because we're playing the game on Steam, but all the achievements are still the same as PlayStation. For some reason, certain cards in this game are locked behind having watched the 358 Half Days movie. Luckily, you can skip through it to save time, but if you haven't seen it, you probably should watch it. I will loosely try to explain the story of it later in this video. I went ahead and docked myself 3 hours in case you actually want to watch it, and then we'll also dock an additional 5 hours, 39 minutes, and 26 seconds for the cutscenes we're skipping throughout the game. That leaves us with 61 hours, 20 minutes, and 34 seconds to run through this game. That's right, I'm taking the dialogue penalty before I start, so if you feel strongly I shouldn't do that, head down to the comments and let me know. It's still early on in the channel's life, so I'm kind of figuring out best practices as I go. I also want to point out right away that I do technically have a mod installed for this game. The mod allows me to soft reset the game, which is a feature that PlayStation has by default. There is a lot of RNG in this game, so having the ability to soft reset makes resetting that RNG much faster and cleaner. Without further ado, let's dive into one of the most divisive games in the series, Kingdom Hearts RE: Chain of Memories. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories was originally released for the Game Boy Advance back in 2004. This game flew pretty under the radar for me, as I had very limited access to the internet as an 8-year-old, so I didn't know it even existed until the remake came out in 2008 and I got it for Christmas. I remember being so excited for new Kingdom Hearts content I hadn't experienced yet.
Man, you beautiful, naive, sophisticated newborn baby. What?
We're going to be tackling this game in a few steps. The first step is Sora's story in Proud Mode. No escapes, no continue. This essentially means we can't run away from any battles once we're in them, and we can't hit continue on the death screen, similar to Kingdom Hearts 1 for these 2 trophies. The second step is going to be Sora's card collection. We'll be able to get all of Sora's cards besides a handful, so we'll knock that out before heading over to the next step. Step 3 is Riku's story on Proud Mode and his level farming. Yes, that's right, Riku is playable in this game, and thankfully his story is actually much easier than Sora's. Riku's level grinding, however, is the worst part of this platinum, so I want to get it out of the way as early as possible. And finally, we'll finish Sora's level grinding and miscellaneous trophy cleanup. Sora's level grinding goes much faster, but we'll likely have a few more miscellaneous grindy trophies to grab, as well as a few cards that aren't obtainable until after you finish Riku's story. Now, I meant it when I said this game is divisive. There are people out there who think this game is great. I am not one of those people. But who knows? Maybe this playthrough will shift my opinion on it. Maybe Kingdom Hearts 4 will come out before I die. Hey, no, don't click away. You're locked in this now with me. Here we go. We go ahead and start on Proud mode here because there isn't a difference in the post-game stuff on Proud versus Beginner. So since difficulty trophies stack, there's just no sense in playing on any different. The entirety of this game takes place in Castle Oblivion, a castle that is being run by these mysterious guys in black coats. Sora is told as soon as he steps inside that he literally lost all of his memories because plot, baby. With our first world card, which is Traverse Town, we head inside. The concept here is that there are different cards made from Sora's memories, so we're essentially just making our way through the same world as Kingdom Hearts 1. Thrilling. Here in Traverse Town, we snag an easy miscellaneous trophy for hitting an enemy with an in-world item. Shortly after, we get another one for just editing our deck for the first time. That makes us one step closer to the ridiculous trophy to edit your deck 500 times. Most of this world is tutorials on how the game's combat works. If you think about it less like a Kingdom Hearts game and more like a card game, it softens the blow of suck a little bit. You essentially just play a higher card than your enemy to break their card, or they can break yours. A 0 card can break any card, and you can also stack 3 cards to play a slate, which can be just a regular combo or a special attack that we earn from leveling up in chests. In each world, we'll need to open at least one bounty room, which is essentially a room with a chest in it. Each world has a specific card or slate that will only drop for the first time from one of these chests. With all that out of the way, we make our way to fight guard armor. Inside each boss fight, there's what's called a gimmick card. I always called it a Mickey card because, I mean, come on. But this gimmick card will essentially make damaging the boss much easier for the time that it's activated. It's always a 0, so wait to break the boss's card before playing it. Each time you level up, you can choose to upgrade health, CP, the amount of cards you can equip, or earn a slate, which you can only do after specific levels. After each boss fight, you get a Conqueror's Respite room to save your game before exiting the floor. Right away, we're introduced to one of my favorite characters in all of Kingdom Hearts, Axel. Axel is a member of Organization 13, and our first boss fight between worlds. There'll be a few of these after finishing specific floors of the castle. Each floor is a world and blah 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 blah. We pop a trophy after beating Axel and make our way to the next floor. The game just kind of pulls up worlds as you approach, but you can technically do them in any order. We choose to do Agrabah next. In each Disney world, the story essentially goes like this. Sora finds the friends he made in the first game. They don't remember who he is, and Sora's confused. Then they become friends again by replaying some of the events of the story from the first game. Some Disney worlds have extra friend cards and battles besides Donald and Goofy. This one is Aladdin. Obviously. Aladdin is good because every time he gets a hit, he pops out Moogle points. Moogle points are used to buy card packs and Moogle rooms, which we won't be doing for a long time because we have to have 10,000 on hand at once before we spend any for a trophy. Then we need to spend 20,000 total for a different trophy. After beating jacked out Jafar again, we exit the world and head to the next one. This time we choose Olympus Coliseum. We make our way through business as usual, collecting the 3 key cards and fighting Cloud and Haven. Next up is Wonderland. This world always pisses me off because the Crescendo enemies and the Flower enemies have really high cards for this point in the game. It feels like the encounters here last way too long. After fighting the playing cards again and Trickmaster, we head into Monstro. This feels like as good a time as any to talk about enemy cards. Enemy cards can drop at the end of fights instead of map cards. The gimmick here is that the last enemy you defeat has only a very, very small chance at dropping one of these cards. The cards themselves provide various bonuses if you add them to your deck, but I wouldn't say it's worth farming for that reason alone. However, we do need one of each enemy card in the game. So we'll revisit this idea after we finish up the story. I do manage to snag a handful by just a random chance. After clearing Monstro, we head into the final world for the first half of the game, Halloween Town. Oogie comes back with another specific gimmick to him where we have to break cards to lower the gate in front of him to damage him. That being said, I kept getting the Mickey cards here and it made this fight mega easy. After finishing up Halloween Town, we have to fight another of the Organization 13 members, Larxene. Larxene is lightning themed and is also super sassy and constantly insults Sora's intelligence. What is happening in the background is that the organization is forcing this girl named Naminé to rewrite Sora's memories, replacing his memories of Kairi with herself. The idea here is to turn Sora into their puppet so he can collect hearts using the Keyblade to summon Kingdom Hearts. Larxene, alongside Axel, Vexen, and Marluxia, both of which we'll run into later, have been assigned to oversee this Castle Oblivion operation. Once she's down, we head into our next set of worlds, starting with Atlantica. An important new thing to note is that starting with this world, a card called the Key to Rewards will start appearing. You can only hold one of these at a time, and every world, including the ones we've already visited, has a door that needs a Key to Rewards. Inside these doors, there will be 2 chests with rewards specific to that exact room of rewards. If there is not 2 chests while you're playing, then you need to go back and make sure you've watched the whole 358 Half Days movie, and gone through the whole journal and character sections after. I'm not going to show every single visit to one of these, but essentially once I get one, I go to floor 1, use it, then get another one, go to floor 2, etc. This will make these next few worlds seem to take a bit more time than they should, but it's because I'm constantly running back to use the Key to Rewards in each world. We make our way through Atlantica once again, fighting Mommy Ursula at the end. After emerging from floor 7, we run into Riku again, except he's being super aggressive about protecting Naminé, and also thinks Sora's in the way, so he tries to off him. He fails and bails, and we make our way through Neverland. The only important thing of note that happens here is that we pop our trophy for getting 150 preemptive strikes on battles. After defeating Hook, we fight Riku again, where he's a little bit harder this time, but Sonic Blade spam makes quick work of him. Hollow Bastion's up next, and we pop our trophy for opening 10 chests inside secret rooms. Nice. Now, it's minigame time. In 100 Acre Wood, there's a specific trophy that we need for each minigame in the world. We need 150 points on this minigame, a perfect score on this one, 120 on this memory game, which takes forever and super boring, and then 2,000 points on this falling minigame. Then we pop the All Minigames trophy after finishing the Bees one, but for some reason you have to redo it for it to track your time. So after finishing this in under 1 minute and 40 seconds, we can finally leave the 100 Acre Wood. Upon exiting, we're stopped by Vexen. Vexen is interested in Sora because he's a scientist and wants to study him. Sora's 14, so this guy definitely belongs on a list somewhere.
No, you're not. Yes, sir? No, you're not.
After he's down, we make our way into the first new world of the game, Twilight Town. Here, we find and fight Vexen again, leaving him in a vulnerable state. Then Axel shows up and finishes him off. That's one organization member down. Axel, Marluxia, and Larxene all have this plot to take over the organization, and they knew Vexen would never be a traitor. Axel finishes off Vexen to ensure Marluxia and Larxene fully trust him. Then he sees an opportunity to let Naminé escape and lets her. Maybe he's not so bad after all. Meanwhile, Sora and friends continue their quest and run into Riku Replica once again. Sora, now realizing he's a fake, tries to convince him his motives aren't real, but obviously Ro doesn't believe, so he Sonic Blade him to death. Now heading into the penultimate world, Destiny Islands, we fight Darkseid in a fight that really doesn't feel like it was designed for this combat style, and we make our way out for our final fight with Riku Replica. I did just realize that I've been saying Riku Replica, and I never really explained what that means. Essentially, Vexen just created a replica of Riku to try and distract Sora and help their mission. After, yes you guessed it, we Sonic Blade him again. Naminé shows up and tries to explain everything the organization has forced her to do to Sora. Then Larxene shows up and tries to off Naminé, but Riku Replica, despite accepting he's a fake, still jumps in front of the blast and takes the hit for Naminé. We then fight Larxene. This fight can be a pain, but somehow I don't really seem to struggle with it, probably due to Sonic Blade. That's 2 organization members fully defeated. I say fully because in these kinds of games, winning a fight almost never means they're fully dead and gone. Now, we traverse into Castle Oblivion itself for the final floor. Throughout my time here, I'm semi-intentionally grinding to reach level 57 so I can unlock the Mega Flare slate. We also pop the trophy for making 20 training players. Easy peasy. As we progress through the long world, we pop the trophy for 1,500 card breaks and eventually run into Axel again, and he attacks us for one of the hardest boss fights in the game. But wait, attacks us? Thought Bro was good now. Let me explain. Before this fight, Marluxia is holding Naminé captive, and Marluxia told Sora that Axel would tear through Naminé to get to him, which isn't true, but Sora's not the brightest, so he believes in that Axel. Now, while the second half of this game is going on, the 358 Half Days movie is happening simultaneously, so let's hop over to that and explain a bit. 358 Half Days, originally released on the Nintendo DS in 2009, covers the story of Roxas. Roxas is a nobody who happens to be able to wield the Keyblade, but I thought Sora was the only one who could wield the Keyblade. No. Just no. Roxas, who has no memory, is recruited by the leader of Organization 13. He's instructed to travel to different worlds and defeat Heartless with the Keyblade to release captive hearts to help the organization summon Kingdom Hearts. Roxas is placed under Axel, and the two become good friends, always stopping to eat sea salt ice cream together after each mission. Shortly after, another member is recruited as the 14th member of Organization 13. They just didn't feel like changing their name. Her name is Xion. Xion can also wield the Keyblade, so now Organization 13 has double their output. Xion and Roxas go on missions together while Axel is sent off to Castle Oblivion. Xion starts to open up to Roxas over time, which reveals to Roxas that she bears a striking resemblance to Kairi, who Roxas doesn't know, but it's so confusing to him that he goes into a coma. We'll pause here and return to this later. During the fight with Axel, we pop the Tightrope Walker trophy for healing when lower than 5%, and then after he's down, we press on to the final fights of this half of the game with Marluxia. Marluxia has 3 different fights with a checkpoint after the first one. His first fight is pretty standard with his normal self, whereas the second and third fights are a bit more super non-Disney anime nonsense. After the first fight, we pop the Sora Storyteller trophy, a pretty good sign we're at the point of no return. The problem with these last 2 fights is that A, they're really hard, and B, you can't die on the second one because you still need the trophy for not using Continue. After many deaths and much trial, we finally give him the go-around, and that's officially 3 members of the organization defeated, and we pop the trophy for clearing the 13th floor. A weird spot to pop that in my opinion. The ending shows that Naminé locks Sora in this pod-looking thing so he can recover his memory. This also means that he's going to forget everything that happened inside of Castle Oblivion. This happens about the same time as Roxas going into his coma.
Coincidence? I think not!
After watching the credits, we pop a bunch of trophies. Proud Player Sora for finishing the game on Proud, Undefeated for finishing the game without hitting any continues, Natural Player Sora for finishing the game on Standard Mode, Novice Player Sora for finishing the game on Beginner Mode, A Slumber to Remember for finishing Sora's story, and finally No Escape for not running away from any battles during the game. Now before moving on to Riku, we're going to take a brief intermission from the story to finish collecting all of Sora's available cards. There's a super useful guide on how to get enemy cards with this video here by Derekov, I'll link it in the description. You can essentially manipulate the RNG of the game so that the enemy cards are nearly guaranteed to drop. This is what makes the worst part of the platinum not so bad at all. This is done by resetting the game by pressing L1, R1, L2, R2, and start and select all at the same time. This makes it so you don't have to fully close out of the game. Then, you have a specific deck and specific room cards in the given worlds with the Heartless, followed by using the Warp Slate either once or twice and it'll pop the enemy card you need. Sometimes you don't get the enemy pattern you need, so that's where soft resetting comes in really handy. The first thing we need is enough arrow cards to make 3 Warp Slates. While buying card packs for this, I popped the trophy for having 300 battle cards. I'll probably come to regret buying these packs before hitting 10k Moogle points later. Now take this white mushroom for example. I have the room set up and the deck set up, and then I save. Then I load the save, and dodge roll 10 times, then go to the mushroom and attack it, and then use warp, and here's the enemy card. Also, since this was the last Heartless we hadn't seen yet, we get the character Professor Sora trophy. Convenient. The enemy card manipulation isn't guaranteed though. Most of these popped on my first attempt at it, or a different combination somebody put in the comments of that video. 2 in particular, the Green Requiem and the Neo Shadow, took me probably close to 20 plus resets each before I finally got them. So we make our way through collecting enemy cards and finishing nearly everything in this side of the story, aside from a handful of cards that we can't get until after we finish Riku's story. Full transparency though, I couldn't get the game to fully reset despite deleting saves and relocking the Steam achievements. So when I was using some bounties earlier on, I got a couple of those cards that you aren't intended to get until after Riku's story. We never use them, so it doesn't matter. But I just wanted to be honest. Before I move on to Riku's story, I wanted to sell all my cards to see how close I can get to getting back to 10k. I got super close, so I finished that off and then reloaded my save. We'll push harder for the 20k spent later. Now the other half of this game stars Riku, Sora's friend who was last seen being stuck inside the realm of darkness with Mickey at the end of the last game. Mickey and Riku got separated, and while lost in the realm of darkness, a card appears transporting Riku to the basement of Castle Oblivion. The story here is pretty basic, as we see Riku struggling with the darkness inside of him. Ansem, the final boss from the last game, shows up and teaches him how to use the darkness rather than fear it. Ansem is dead though, so this is just in Riku's head. After making our way through the first world, we pop a trophy and then slug our way through the Disney worlds again. The biggest gameplay differences with Riku are that he doesn't have to make his own deck. You just kinda get what you get and it changes with each world. Also, when you level up, you can level HP, attack power, or darkness power. The darkness power spiel is that after you break a certain amount of cards, you go into dark mode Riku, affecting your damage output in slates. The last biggest difference is that most worlds basically only have the boss fight and don't take much time at all. We go through Agrabah where I was literally thinking to myself, hopefully we don't have to farm for the random joker, and boom, it drops. That on top of the luck we just had at the end of the enemy card grind is just unreal. I can't wait for the comments to tell me I'm cheating. Go for it. It feeds the algorithm, you fools. After clearing Agrabah and Monster, we have a tussle with our boy Vexen. This is where he gathers the data he needs to make Riku Replica, by the way. Neverland is up next, where I can go ahead and explain the duel mechanic. Specific to Riku, when you play the same card as the enemy, you can duel them. This requires you to outplay their card 3 or 5 times, and if you win, you do a cool move that does big damage. We need to do 100 of these, but there's a great spot to farm for it later. After Neverland comes Traverse Town, and after the guard armor fight, we fight Riku Replica. Dang, Vexen works quick. We pop a trophy after beating him, and then move into our second set of worlds. I spent a good amount of time farming in Atlantica before fighting Ursula, and then moving on to Olympus Coliseum. This is the world where we can farm out the 100 duels. You have a good deck here to work with. If you pop a bottomless darkness room, there will only be shadows to fight. Shadows will always play a 1 card, and then the duel will always be a 6, 7, or an 8. So you just do that over and over until eventually the trophy pops. Then we head over and fight Hades before making our way out of the world and into Wonderworld. I always blitz through this world because the deck they give you here is terrible. Next up is Halloween Town. I make sure to just fight the Heartless here that are specific to the world and head to the boss room. After taking down Oogie again, we make our way out and run into Lexaeus. Sora had Larxene, Axel, and Vexen to deal with. Riku has Lexaeus, Zexion, and Vexen to deal with. This fight is most easily won by just doing duels over and over. With him down, that's 4 total organization members in the dumpster. Next world is Destiny Islands. We make our way through and fight Darkseid again. Nothing special here. Afterwards, we're tricked into believing Sora is there, but surprise, it's Zexion. Zexion can be an annoying fight because he steals a bunch of your cards, but he goes down pretty easily. That's 5 organization members fully down. Into Twilight Town we go, where our boss fight is the Riku Replica again. He puts up a pretty decent fight this time, so go prepared. After, we have a quick cutscene with the Key of Guidance where Riku finds Sora in his sleep pod and Naminé offers to lock Ansem away for good from Riku's heart. Riku chooses to handle Ansem on his own because he wants to be able to tell Sora that he's being a little bit for sleeping too long. We head out, popping the Riku Cardmaster trophy for being the last world card, and then the Storyteller trophy for reaching the final floor. In Riku's Castle Oblivion 4, we nearly immediately pop the Record Keeper Riku and Character Professor Riku trophies for finishing his version of of Jimmy's journal. We did this by having now met every character, which in this case meant encountering the last Heartless type. I spent a bazillion hours farming here, as this is where we're going to farm Riku to level 99. I do not think that this is needed before the final boss, but my wife and I were watching TV at the time, so it just made sense to knock it out. During that grind, we get the Hard Hitter trophy for getting all of Riku's attack power upgrades, and then after a million trillion bazillion hours, we pop our Riku Level Master trophy. God, that grind is just fucking awful. Now we head up to the final door to fight Ansem again. Now that we farmed so much, he goes down pretty easily, he pops a trophy, and we watch the ending. Ansem explodes with this giant darkness thing, and Mickey saves Riku for the 900th time. This guy named Diz, who's super cool looking, had given Mickey and Riku organization posts they can join the organization tracking them. As they head out of Castle Oblivion, Diz offers Riku two paths, the Road to Light and the Road to Darkness. Riku chooses the Road to Dawn, which is a super cool answer, but was not one of the options. We then fast forward to see an older Riku fighting a mysterious boy with two keyblades. So let's back up a bit. So after Roxas wakes up from his coma, Axel, Shion, and him become close friends. Then, Shion finds out that she's an imperfect replica of Roxas created by Vexen, hence why she can wield the keyblade. As Naminé works to restore Sora's memories, Shion begins to physically look like Sora, which freaks her out, so she bails. Axel and Xigbar, another organization member, go to hunt her down, and Shion beats Xigbar easily, though not fully. Soon after, Roxas decides to bail on the organization, and Axel is caught between his work and his friends. Shion then tries to absorb Roxas, which if that happens, that would mean that Sora would never reawaken. Roxas defeats her, and she spills the tea that the organization is trying to use him to summon Kingdom Hearts. As she fades away, the memory she has go back to Sora, and leaves her Keyblade with Roxas. So now Roxas can wield two Keyblades, which is dope. So, the mysterious boy that I mentioned earlier, that Riku runs into, is none other than Roxas. The two fight, and Riku wins, but only by fully letting the darkness take over. Riku brings Roxas to Diz, and they wipe his memories and place him inside Twilight Town, where Sora is brought by Diz and Naminé to complete the process of memory restoration. End scene. There are definitely a few key things I left out intentionally, because call me a purist, but I think you should play Kingdom Hearts 2 before watching Blaze. It's just my opinion. At the final screen after the credits, we pop Proud Mode Riku, Riku Standard Mode, Riku Beginner Mode, and then the trophy for finishing Riku's story. Back over on Sora now, we go ahead and clean up the two cards we still need for him, one of which is in Twilight Town, and the other is in Destiny Islands. This pops us Record Keeper Sora and Card Master Sora. Now there are 4 trophies left, and all of them are one is for editing your deck 500 times. I had to edit mine 458 more times, but throughout the entire game, I only did this 50-ish times naturally. Nevertheless, trophy earned. The next is for spending 20,000 Moogle points. For this, I sell everything in my deck aside from one attack card and my Mega Flare slate just in case, and then I buy out a Moogle store, sell everything, buy out etc., until eventually the trophy pops. Now our last ones are for creating 300 rooms and hitting level 99 with Sora. You create like 100-ish rooms total in the story, so you literally just have to make rooms every time you max out while level farming. But before I do that, I realized that I never popped the All Slates trophy for Sora. After doing some research, it turns out I never talked to Piglet in 100 Acre Woods that unlocks the last slate needed and the trophy. Future me here. I forgot to mention that during the level grinding trophy, I ended up popping the room synthesis trophy. I mentioned the trophy itself earlier, but didn't mention that I popped it for some reason in the script, so here it is. The fastest leveling route with Sora is to use Looming Darkness on Destiny Islands, but regardless, this grind is much easier than Riku's because it's relatively mindless.
One eternity later.
After another million years, we pop Sora Level Master, our final trophy for this game. Remember that we're playing on Steam, so there is no 100% trophy for finishing this title, as we have to earn everything in 1.5 and 2.5 Remix to get that trophy. We had 34 hours, 22 minutes, and 33 seconds left on the clock upon finishing this game. That means it took us 35 hours, 37 minutes, and 27 seconds to finish this game, including the dialogue penalty, nearly half the estimated time from PSN profiles. That brings our total time for the series from 441 hours and 22 minutes to 405 hours, 44 minutes, and 33 seconds. Of the 317 trophies we have to earn for this series, we now have 102, which means we're still not quite a third of the way through.
Alright, I'm gonna go cry.
I have to be honest with you guys. I was having a decent enough time with this game up until finishing Riku's story. I still think the card system is terrible, but it's not unplayable and still abusable. Also, I went ahead and studied a bit on the story prior to this game so that I could have a bit more to talk about given how straightforward this game can be. Let me know in the comments how you feel about me trying to story recap while bum rushing trophies. This game's real issue will always be in the post-game or lack thereof. It took me forever to get Riku and Sora to 99 and there's literally no purpose for it. No cool reward, no secret boss made easier, nothing. In fact, most of the trophy list in this game just feels like a colossal waste of time. That being said, it apparently wasn't nearly as much of a waste of time as PSN Profiles believes it to be. It took me about half the time it said it would, and that's after deducting nearly 9 hours for skipping the day's movie and cutscenes in the game. But alas, there is good news. The next game in the series is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Next week, however, we'll be finishing up the Elder Scrolls series with Skyrim before coming back here. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe. It's free. Do it. You won't regret it. And bye-bye. We've got 5 games left in the Kingdom Hearts series to Platinum and 405 hours, 44 minutes, and 33 seconds to do it. We also have 215 trophies still left to snag, not including the Platinums themselves. No, I'm not doing Melody of Memory, at least for now, but feel free to leave that comment you're typing, friend. It pushes my metrics. Today, we get to tackle Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, one of my favorite games of all time, but not one I've Platinum very often because it takes a lot longer than Kingdom Hearts 1. PSN Profile says this is going to take us 90 hours.
You sure about that?
I want to point out that I changed the timer to count up on this video because honestly, I've been so far from the PSN profile times on most games that I figured it would be more interesting just to see how long it actually takes. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments. Without further ado, let's hunt some trophies in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. It's going to be hard to break down this playthrough into specific steps, but here's all the things we need to tackle. First off, of course, we need to finish the story in all of the worlds. We also need 100% on Jimmy's journal, which means we need all the character files, all the Heartless encountered, all the Nobodies encountered, all the minigames, all Ansem reports, all missions, all drive forms maxed, all Mushroom 13 members, all treasure chests, all limit breaks, all gummy ship blueprints, all puzzle pieces, all tournaments, every item synth at least once, hitting level 99, and then we need to get our shit rocked by every secret boss, and a handful of miscellaneous trophies. We're going to be doing this playthrough on critical mode, which means we're doing everything possible in one playthrough. That definitely doesn't have to be your prerogative, but I feel like the endgame bosses in this game are insanely hard regardless of the difficulty, so you might as well play on critical. There are no weird trophies to play the game fast or not die in this one, so feel free to let critical mode kick your butt a little bit and learn the fights. Our story starts with a different protagonist, Roxas. Most of you probably know who he is if you watched the Chain of Memories video, and if you didn't, then enjoy being as confused as I was as a 9-year-old kid. I'm not going to try nearly as hard for a story recap in this game, because I was wrong about so many things in the last video. I promise I was not rage baiting. That was me genuinely trying my best to understand the story of this game. Our first day as Roxas has us learning combat basics where we have to pick one of these bats to beat this guy with. We obviously pick the strength one because Unga Bunga. After battering the bully, we end up chasing this white squiggly guy through the forest and try to fight him, but we can't. Then we get a Keyblade, and suddenly we're not useless. The next day, we do some mail delivery and then try to go to the beach. You're intended to make a certain amount of money, and as a kid I actually did a bunch of these jobs to save up money, but you can just do one and then lowball your friends. Then we end up in the same place as the beginning of the first game with the stained glass platforms, where we choose the shield because of the abilities it will give us a bit earlier than the other options. After fighting our way through a bunch of dusks, we fight Roxas's version of Darkseid called the Twilight Thorn. This fight is intended to teach you about reaction commands, but it's also kinda tough on critical. I failed to one-cycle him, but it leads to this hilarious ending that almost looks like I accidentally killed him. The next day, we participate in the Struggle Tournament, where we beat the balls out of our best friend. Ending a match by getting all 200 orbs pops this trophy, our first one for the run. We then fight Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, which you haven't played, you should, it's great. Then the world freezes, and we fight more Dusks and our best friend that we don't know is our best friend, Axel. Time unfreezes, and then we fight Setzer for the final struggle match. The problem is that the item you get for losing is better than the one you get for winning, so we just let him smack us a few times. The next day, we head to another area to solve the 7 Wonders of Twilight Town, which are actually just a bunch of glitches because this version of the town isn't real. We smack this wall, fight a bunch of Vivi clones, fight Anti-Roxas, and then ride this sack. Suspicious involved. Back in Twilight Town proper, we head to the mansion for the last wonder, which is actually nominated as being a peeping Tom, and end the day. Now this is where shit hits the fan for our boy Roxas. As we exit the usual spot, Axel has more things attack us and then he freezes. We then battle our way to the mansion again and head to the White Room, where Naminé informs us that we were never meant to exist. Now listen here a bit. Then we head down into the lab where Roxas gets pissed and smashes these computers. We fight a bunch more nobodies and then Axel shows up again. He's trying to take us back to Organization 13, I'm pretty sure, but this fight is sick because Roxas gets 2 Keyblades. After beating the brakes off him, we find ourselves in the pod room, and honestly, I know this is intended to be as fast as possible, but there are a few cutscenes that I just had to watch. They just hit. Observe.
I hate you so much.
You should share some of that hatred with Sora. He's far too nice for his own good.
No! My heart belongs to me! lucky. Looks like my summer vacation is over.
Cinema. Absolute cinema. Oh, and a trophy. Now, we finally have our boy Sora back. I'll point out here that I was getting chests with Roxas just to give myself more stuff with Sora, but none of those chests actually counted. Everything from this point on does. We make our way to the station where we find a seemingly endless amount of nobodies. Then, King Mickey saves us in a cutscene I skipped, and then we head to the mysterious tower on a train. Upon arrival, we see this big guy outside named Pete. Anybody who knows Disney knows Pete is bad news, and lo and behold, we're now fighting Heartless. We make our way up this tower, fighting Heartless along the way, and find ourselves meeting Yensid, the master that trained King Mickey. Also, his name is Disney backwards. He teaches us about lore stuff we don't necessarily need because we've played other games in the series already, and then we head to the fairies room to get a sick new outfit. This gives us our first dry form, which allows us to be able to dual wield Keyblades now. We exit the world and head over to the only available world, Hollow Bastion, though it looks a bit different than I remember. We land, grab this sticker, another type of collectible in this game, and then we make our way over to this fight. As we make our way over to the next area, I pop Valor Form, the dry form we got. This form levels by getting hits on enemies, and it grants us the high jump ability as we level it. We can only get as many levels as the amount of forms that we have, so base form and Valor Form allows us to get up to level 3 for now. Subtle foreshadowing that there are more forms later. We head into this house where all of our Final Fantasy friends from the first game are hanging out, and then head up to the Bailey. This fight can be a pain because we have to defend this gate while fighting everything, but at least we have Leon with us. We abuse the dual stance reaction command to slice through these guys and finish the fight. This is where Organization 13 reintroduces themselves to Sora, who doesn't remember anything about his time in Castle Oblivion, whereas I still hear Sora's Mega Flare in my sleep every night. It's hilarious though because there are only a handful of Organization 13 left because Sora and Riku slaughtered a bunch of them, and Sora has no idea who they even are. Oh, and yeah, now we're in a gummy mission. These are on-the-rails type things that we do for each world. I won't be showing these much until later on as there are a handful of gummy trophies, but we don't need to worry about them yet. Typically, I'll clear every gummy route on screen before entering a world just to get them over with. Our first Disney world is the Land of Dragons. We meet this guy Ping and head down to camp where we immediately are enlisted into the Chinese army. It do be like that sometimes. We fight through a handful of missions and then head to the last one where we have to make our way up this mountain path. Reaching the village up top, we head into this cave where we get stuck with Ping and fight a bunch of Heartless. We exit the cave to see the village burn to ash. I mean, Jesus, I don't feel like we were gone that long. Then we head up the mountain further to get into this huge fight with a bunch of these little yellow guys. This is a really great opportunity to make a ton of XP, but unfortunately, I'm dog shit. After this fight, Ping reveals that all this time she was actually a woman. We make our way down the mountain to go fight Shan Yu while protecting these doors. This is gonna be a recurring thing, isn't it? We kill him with swag and exit the world with a Keyblade that kinda sucks as a reward. Next up is Beast Castle. I always like this world because it's neat that we get to see the world where a party member from the first game lives normally. We go to look for Beast and find Belle, who tells us Beast is being a cranky pants. Then we push this wardrobe and head into the dungeon to fight this cool looking door. During this fight I died on purpose, for sure, because there are certain fights where Mickey will come save you and the first time he does it pops a trophy. You basically just pump Sora back up so it's like a free life sort of, I guess. With the door down, we save these living household items, then head through the dungeon lighting lamps along the way. Then we find Beast and fight him to calm him down. Make it make sense. We basically just spam clockwork in his face over and over, and somehow that calms him down so he can become a party member again. I'll just go ahead and mention here that with every Disney party member, there's a limit break you can do, as well as a bunch with Goofy and Donald that we need to do at least once for Jiminy's Journal. After heading back to find Belle and finding the wardrobe again, we head to the ballroom where we fight the boss for this world. The first form is mega easy, just basically an edgy dark ball. The second form is this giant guy that goes invisible, and I actually die again here, but in comes the mouse who does a ton of damage so Sora can wake up and swag finish. After finishing that world, the gummy ship drives us back to Hollow Bastion where we find Pooh's book again. This world isn't so bad in this game as the minigames are much more enjoyable. But we can't do any of them yet because we have to find all the torn pages again, so we'll be back. Now we head over to Olympus Coliseum, which in this game is like an actual world taking place in the underworld, which is pretty dope. We can't use dry forms here because of Hades' magic or something, so we head over to have a talk with him about it. When we find him, we try to beat him into submission, but we can't because this is his world, so we decide to run for our lives instead. Oh, and also we picked up Auron from Final Fantasy X, who's probably one of the coolest characters ever made. Now comes a segment speedrunners call Hades Escape. Why is it called that? Well, we have to escape from Hades. This encounter is really tough on Critical because Hades desperately wants you to...
Daddy, chill.
I somehow make it through on my first try, and I generally don't know if I've ever done that before. As we make our way out, we're then attacked by Cerberus, the big doggo from the first game. I usually have trouble with this fight, but I'm not even sure I took damage this time. Heading up to the Coliseum proper, we break some pots with our pal Danny DeVito, and then a Hydra attacks, and Meg is kidnapped. So we go deal with Meg while Hercules stays back to solo queue the Hydra. As we make our way to Meg, we run into our first new organization member of this game, Demix. Demix looks, acts, sounds, and straight up just is a douche. He forces me to fight 100 water clones. I didn't know this was a Naruto game. With him gone for now, we head into this cavern area to protect Meg. They really love this protect tech, Jesus Christ. Then Herc shows up, so hopefully the Hydra's taken care of and we fight Pete. Once we escape the cavern, we head back to see the Herc did in fact not defeat the Hydra, so now we have to. I've never had as much trouble with this fight as I did this time. Nikki kept having to save me over and over again, so now my percentage chance for getting him during an actually difficult fight is pretty low. Anyway, we swag finish the Hydra and head out with a new Keyblade that we'll actually use. Next, we head over to Disney Castle. First, we escort Minnie through the castle to the Hall of the Cornerstone to learn that it's been stolen. I guess this is bad. We go ask Merlin about it and then find this door to one of my favorite worlds in the series, Timeless River. I love the heart behind this world. It really is unique, and the music and sound effects all sound old, and the profile pictures for Donald the Goofy are like a million years old, and yeah, it's just great. We find Old Pete, who's actually not a bad guy, and then we have to defeat a bunch of Heartless in each of these windows. The only one that gave me trouble here was the burning building, because I wasn't paying attention to the giant fireballs. My bad. Then we head to the riverside to battle New Pete, who's trying to steal the Cornerstone of Light and Steamboat Willie's boat. God, I love this world. With Pete on land, we then kick his ass in a bunch of different areas before exiting the world and popping a trophy. We also obtain Wisdom Form here, which levels up by defeating Heartless and is a magic-based form. The growth ability you get from leveling Wisdom is Quick Run, which was this game's dodge roll until they actually just added dodge roll with a different form we get later. You may have noticed we haven't been getting trophies for the other worlds, and there's a reason for that, which I'll explain later. Next up is Atlantica. Just kidding, we're doing that way later, so we can knock it all out at once, since this world is a rhythm game in this game. So it's a copyright city in there. So, we head to Port Royal instead. This world has a lot of flaws, but it's based on one of my favorite movies of all time, so I still love it. The mechanic where the pirates have to be in the moonlight to take damage is actually like really big brain for a PS2 game. Anyway, we go save Will from Heartless and then head out to sea with Jack Sparrow. Landing at the Isla de Muerta, we have to survive for some time and then protect this medallion, and while I definitely appreciate the moonlight mechanic, my god is it a pain sometimes. After we get back to Port Royal, we knock some barrels off the ship and then head back to Isla de Muerta to fight Captain Barista. What? Autocorrect. Barbosa. This fight can be a pain because you have to keep Jack alive as well, and in case you haven't noticed, the NPCs are also playing on critical, so they're dead literally all the time. We eventually take him down and exit the world, heading to a familiar one next, Agrabah. Heading into the Cave of Wonders, which thank Christ is not a boss fight in this game, we jump over some waves with a boo and then do this wave-based fight where we float down. Cool. Then after a dark battle in the treasure room, we head back up to the palace where we fight Who the hell are these guys? We fight Fat Fire Guy and Fat Ice Guy instead, and this fight is hilariously easy. Once they're both down, we exit the world and head over to Halloween Town. Our boy Jack is back, and this time we actually somewhat tackle the plot of the movie, I think. I'm not sure.